I should let folks know that the Senate Commerce Committee, we have learned, just voted unanimously to report Sean Duffy's nomination for Transportation Secretary to the full Senate. But we don't know when that vote is going to take place. So we don't know when the Senate takes up his nomination, yet unknown. So, look, there are these procedural obstacles, Michael, that Democrats seem to be leading into. But, we were just talking, Julie was just talking about John Thune. Let me play what he had to say about it.
You can force us to staying around here, and we can vote on these things Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we're going to vote on them. Everything we're doing right now is just stalling. And I don't know what that accomplishes for you, but we're going to be here voting on them.
What does it accomplish for Democrats?
I think Thune misspoke. This is called vetting. This is actually what they should be doing, which is making sure that all these people are qualified, which I'm not sure that they are. For instance, Hegseth is nowhere near as qualified as Secretary Austin, who had that job before. You've got Tulsi Gabbard, again, who I don't really think is qualified to lead our national intelligence operation, given her shaky past with Assad and otherwise. And so Democrats are doing what they should be doing, which is making sure these people are qualified and taking them through the process.
What do you think they accomplished, David, by, for whatever reason, whether on the Republican side they say it's stalling, in the Democratic side they say it's vetting, does it help their cause?
It does. It certainly does. And here's why. Democrats are going to use every tool they have to start a conversation with the American people about the lack of fitness of many of these nominees, including nominees that arguably could compromise our national security and our public health security. And so the only tools Democrats have are their voice and their vote and some procedural moments. And what Murphy was doing there and what Democrats wanted to do is make sure that these votes and these conversations did not occur during the inauguration news cycle when these conversations would be missed. And so Democrats were right to say, we're going to wait and try to have these conversations at a time when the American people can pay a little more attention to this. But ultimately, Democrats are simply serving as the conscience of the body in this process, and the eyes of accountability need to be on Republicans. Republicans in the Senate also know that many of these candidates or nominees lack fitness for their jobs and compromise national security and public health security. Republicans are the ones at fault should many of these unqualified nominees move forward. Democrats are making sure that the American people have an opportunity to see this totally play out and assign culpability where it should be assigned.
Well, one of those controversial picks in particular, Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, despite senators getting an affidavit containing new allegations against him, seem to be moving forward. They're pushing for it to move forward. But I want to play what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer told Julie Sirkin about that.
Well, I hope all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle read it before making any final judgment, because it is extremely troubling. And it just, the allegations keep coming and coming and coming. They don't seem to stop. And people who vote for him ought to ask what will come out after he's approved, if God forbid he's approved.
Realistically, Michael, is that really the Democrats' strongest point right now? Just to simply say, you know what, with Pete Hegseth expected to still be confirmed, if problems arise, new information comes out, you own it, Republicans.
Well, that's not enough, because he has this incredibly important job of keeping us safe in a world that is completely chaotic. You've got rising terrorism in Western Africa. You've got a war in Ukraine. You've got the situation in Gaza. You've got chaos in Venezuela and Haiti. You have an aggressive China. You have an aggressive Russia. We need a Secretary of Defense that can protect us and protect American interests, and his resume doesn't prove that.
So, David, Politico reports that former Vice President Mike Pence has an advocacy group that sent a letter to Republican senators asking them to oppose RFK Jr., another one of the controversial choices, quote, because he is an anti-vax conspiracy theorist, former heroin addict, supporter of marijuana and psychedelic drug legalization, and backer of abortion rights. And I wonder, knowing these folks as well as you do, David, in the end, if RFK does end up being in trouble with Republicans, is it more likely over his abortion views than his, say, anti-vax stance or any of the other questions being raised against him?
I'm not sure RFK Jr. is in trouble, and I wish Mike Pence success, particularly on the points of anti-vax and compromising public health that we might see from an RFK Jr. But, Chris, the way this early Congress is shaping up is the Senate seems to be more in lockstep at times than the House when it terms of lining up behind Donald Trump. And so I think right now RFK Jr. has the votes. Maybe if they are postponing the Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. Hearings a little bit longer, it's because there might be one or two senators that want on the Republican side that want to push them a bit. So maybe the storyline changes. But where we sit today, I believe all the remaining nominees do pass, including RFK Jr. The opportunity missed for Republicans and Donald Trump is that this isn't that hard. You find a Secretary of Defense that doesn't have credible allegations of sexual misconduct and actually has enterprise experience running an agency, like a Mad Dog Mattis. You could find a HHS secretary who is a leader in public health. That's not the path Donald Trump chose. That's not the path Senate Republicans are supporting. They've missed that opportunity with the American people, but you broke it, you bought it. This is now the brand of Republicans today.